Now don't worry, I know it's only one game. And we literally have the rematch in about 6 hours-ish from this particular video's upload time. We're not going to stream for that, by the way. We're going to be streaming for Montreal-Edmonton because that's just what I decided to do. You know, it's kind of funny how that works. But today we're talking about the Toronto-Ottawa game from last night, the Battle of Ontario, that had so many people from across the hockey world just utterly shocked. First off, at how the Ottawa Senators, the team that many people predicted would have been last in the league, or one of the last teams in the league, and particularly last in the Canadian division for sure, defeated a Toronto team that many people thought would have been, at the very least, number 1 or number 2. Now again, it's only one game. Teams are going to win, teams are going to lose, no team goes 0-82, no team goes 82-0. But to start things off with their very first meeting of, 9 or 10 games this year or something like that, just seeing how things unfolded in game number 2 for Toronto and game number 1 for Ottawa, it really put a frown on Leafs fans' faces because the ultimate score here, it's 5-3, and so many of the worst things you could have seen with the Maple Leafs occurred here in this game. What you had with this Maple Leaf squad against Ottawa, where they lost, was mediocre goaltending from Freddie. You had a very big scapegoat of a play over there from one of your brand new defensemen, TJ Brodie. We'll get to that a little bit later. And you had yourselves some pretty poor performances, at least statistically speaking, from guys like Matthews, Marner, the coaching staff, I guess you could say, etc. And all these things combined, the players not playing to the standard that people expected out of them, the fact that Toronto is supposed to be so good this year and Ottawa was supposed to be last, the fact that the Leafs blew a 2-1 lead in about 5 minutes, yeah, it's not great. And if we go over the actual recap of what happened in this game, if we go over to the box score here, what you had was a Zach Hyman goal to kick things off. Okay, cool. 10 minutes later, with about a minute left in the period on the power play, Thomas Chabot gets things done, ties it up. Okay, cool. Second period starts, Alex Kerfoot has a very nice wrist shot from the point that beats Matt Murray. It's 10 minutes into the frame. Then, a minute after that, Brady Tkachuk with a tip off of a shot from Zaitsev, of all people. Yeah, it's Nikita Zaitsev coming over here and setting up the play in front that ties the game again. 2 minutes after Brady Tkachuk scores, hey, it's Austin Watson who comes in with a snapshot. And then 3 minutes after that, it's Chris Tierney who comes in and he scores 2. Things get out of hand quickly. And then in the third, it got even worse because TJ Brodie behind his own goal line ends up giving it right away to the Senators who are back there. And all of a sudden, it's a tap-in. Very easy shot over there from Derek Stepan right at the doorstep. You then had a John Tavares goal towards the end that didn't really look like it was going to come. It was just a really weird power play in general for the Maple Leafs, and then Tavares just kind of took the puck and he just shot it and it went in. So it definitely wasn't the most organized of plays. It was just kind of get the puck to the net and see what happens, and it went in for John Tavares. But the big tail of the tape here was a few of those factors. First off, Frederik Andersen, hey, he didn't really look all too great. He let in some stinkers, and there are definitely defenses for that. You can say that Andersen is in a position where he just kind of was put into a bad situation here. He did make some good saves towards the end, but, you know, he still, at the end of the day, had an 800-something save percentage, so it's not great. You then had the top guys on the team, Mitch Marner, 25 minutes of ice time, 0 shots, 0 goals, 0 assists. And people in the replies to this John Shannon tweet were like, yeah, you know, this is kind of the same Marner we saw in the postseason in 2020. Then they call him Siakam 2.0, which is a completely other ball game. I don't want to talk about that here. I have Siakam on my fantasy team, so I don't want to badmouth the guy all too much. But that's something that I think you could definitely be concerned about, especially when the guy who is displaying those numbers is a 90-point player at his best, and when he's at his worst, is still a $10 million guy. Matthews was out here getting 0 points on the night as well. John Tavares, at the very least, he came over here with a goal and an assist on that first play by Zach Hyman as well. Nylander, hey, you can't really fault the guy too much. He was over here with a 6.9 AAV contract, and the fact is he got an assist as well, so that's not terrible, right? The point is, the Maple Leafs are in a position where their goaltending, hey, it hasn't been great so far. If Jack Campbell comes in tonight, which he probably will, and steals the game, the Leafs need to go out there and really try to evaluate what would be the best decision going into the next few games here. Because in a 56-game shortened schedule, you cannot afford to lose games to the teams that you think are going to be last, like Ottawa, for example. This is what Craig Button had to say about this on the program. It's a comment over here from the Leafs subreddit. Just a horrible take. They called it the Battle of Ontario. I call that a misnomer. One-team battles. The other team didn't show up for the battle. The Leafs want to make it a contest of skill rather than a contest of will. And the guy who posted this, JRP, is like, yeah, you know, Button, his take is kind of whack. And then the people replying are like, no, he's not lying, bro. That's kind of what happened. Compared to what the Ottawa Senators displayed, the heart they showed, the actual dedication and the accuracy, the finesse out there, the Maple Leafs just really didn't show up, and you could kind of tell a little bit of a different pattern with what was going on for this Maple Leafs team. Inconsistent passes, a lot of misses, so many shots going over the net or wide or whatever. You had some Mitch Marner chances that were 0 shots on goal because he can't hit the net anymore. And of course, because it's Toronto, things are going to be under a huge spotlight, especially with that TJ Brodie giveaway at the start of the third period. This is what Sheldon Keefe said about Brodie. Nobody really was a standout for us here today, but TJ Brodie is a pro. He's been fine. He plays a game where you've got to watch it back on video and really focus on what he's doing to really see the value in it. And you can take this one of two ways. You can either say, okay, Sheldon Keefe is saying that TJ Brodie plays a very pinpoint, precise, and under-the-radar kind of effective game, where you really need to analyze, look deep, and try to dissect what exactly it is he's doing every shift that makes him so valuable. You can say it's like that. Or you can say, hey man, if you watch this guy play in a game and you watch the full 60 minutes and you only look at when Brodie is playing, you're really going to have a tough time seeing why he is a good player. You really need to rewind and actually watch it to see what's good in him. There are two ways to take that statement, but I do kind of agree with the sentiment that I saw from a very few select other hockey YouTubers on Twitter that, yeah, it looks like TJ Brodie might become that scapegoat for Toronto going into the next few games, depending on how he plays. You know what I'm talking about, right? First it was Jake Gardiner, then it was Nazem Kadri. We have these over the years, right? And who knows if TJ Brodie becomes that. As for the Senators, though, because I know I have some Senators fans who watch this channel, and I know you guys don't like me talking about the Leafs all too much, hey, you guys are great. Brady Tkachuk, absolute monster. This guy is going to come over here and be very, very good for you guys this year. I cannot wait to see how he evolves into a better version of himself that was already very NHL capable. You had that Thomas Chabot one-timer, beautiful goal right there. Chef's kiss, moi. Chabot is one of the more underrated defensemen in the entire NHL, in my opinion. Of course, you had the debut of Tim Stützle. There were some very good quotes about him earlier on about how his nickname is Jimmy, apparently, which is really weird, but you know, hey, I'll take it. That's a pretty funny story to talk about. And if you guys are going to go out there tonight and try to do the same thing again to a Maple Leafs team that's already kind of cracked up in terms of their overall morale, because even though they barely slipped out with a win against Montreal, they really didn't play a good game against Ottawa. And they're going to be hungry. Who knows if the guys who are being paid at the top, like Matthews and Marner, can actually prove that they deserve those contracts in bounce-back games like this. If we do see that, then great. If we don't see that, then boy oh boy, we'll have another very nice discussion to have tomorrow. But talk to me in the comments what you thought about the Leafs versus the Senators, the Battle of Ontario game number 1. I hope you enjoyed this video, Trolls99, and bye.